Hey friends, I want to remind you this week to make well-being your top priority as an entrepreneur. Yes, I understand you've got all kinds of amazing goals. Yes, sometimes you want to adopt the mentality of like burn the boat so that you have no choice but to force yourself to do difficult things. And it's true that sometimes when your back is against a hard place, some of you guys, we've noticed the pattern where that's where your best ideas come out. That's where you do amazing things. But as a long-term strategy, you're not going to be able to beat this basic concept that if you can make enjoying the journey, if you can make your own happiness, your own well-being goal number one, and everything else is subject to that. So, and that includes like serving the people in your life that you care about. That's not just saying selfish happiness, that's sort of short-term hedonic pursuit of pleasure. I'm talking about enjoying life, which requires a higher level of pursuit of well-being than just pursuing what feels good. So I'm not talking about motivating yourself with, taking some of the cash that you earn and using it to buy a fancy car or vacation. I'm talking about enjoying the journey itself. When you wake up and start working, if you enjoy that, then if you make that goal number one to enjoy your work itself, there's this tendency for goals to fall in place almost automatically, sometimes in a way that feels kind of effortless. There's perhaps a bit of magic in there, but logically it makes sense that if you consistently enjoy your work, you just tend to show up with the right energy over a long enough time to where time and randomness start to work in your favor, to where you play the game more because you enjoy the game. And so you just have more chances. You're up to bat more often, so you're more likely to hit a home run. So today we're talking about making that goal number one. That's your challenge. But the question always becomes, how do you actually let yourself be happy? Like psychologically, what does that actually mean to make that change to where well-being is your top priority, but you're still working on stuff. You don't just wander through the day or play video games all day. How do you do this while working? And there's two things I've noticed with those I've worked with, those who've practiced this, the art of well-being with me over time. We've noticed that permission and control seem to be the two really key ingredients. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So permission is literally just giving yourself permission to be happy. There's been entire books written about just compiling research on this topic that when you look at who seems to be the happiest person in a town, and you ask people like, who do you know who would just stand out in your mind as like one of the happiest people? If you continue to ask people that and it seems to triangulate on certain people, and you go and you interview those people, they have just as many problems in life as everyone else, but there's this tendency for them to elevate the happiness in terms of its importance. They give themselves permission to be happy despite problems. They give themselves permission to take on the glass is half full mentality about what's yet to come that's beautiful or good in life. So giving yourself permission, when you think about like today, if there's some stressful stuff, if there's some difficult stuff, you give yourself permission to just enjoy that and to be happy while you do your work today. That's one part of the foundation. The other part is releasing control. There's this thing that a lot of us have noticed, that if you release control over exactly how things unfold, you still have high intention to go after your goal, but you don't necessarily need to control. Yes, you're still going to create a point A, point B, and map out the path to get there, because we know from other psychological research and just from a lot of people in the practical real world practicing this, that if you have a written plan and specific goals, you're more likely to achieve those. The SMART goals, they do work despite some of the downsides with those. And so we do want that, but releasing control on a psychological level means you have high intention to achieve your goal, but low attachment to any particular thing you work on today having to go your way. You have a meeting with someone, you don't necessarily need them to perfectly understand, or you don't need them to decide that you're right and go along with your plan. You're just less concerned with that because you're putting your own permission to just enjoy and accept that things aren't going to always in the day-to-day battles go your way, but you're accepting that by enjoying the game, eventually time and randomness will help you to achieve not just the goals you have now, but even bigger things than you've even imagined so far at this point in your life. So those are kind of two foundations. Give yourself permission, let go of control. But here's a more practical zeroing in on, okay, yeah, but give me a little bit more detail on how do I practice this today? I'd say treat it like a game. Treat your work, treat your business objectives like you would a video game or a board game. something where you're saying, it's just for fun, right? That's the mentality that we want you to get. You're still going to work hard just like you do in a game. You still try hard. It's just that now you're enjoying it more. And so that creates longevity. It elevates well-being. The other thing is, for a lot of you guys who maybe are a little bit more on the nervous or worried side of the continuum, we're all somewhere on that curve. We all have some level of responsiveness to anxiety. For those of you who tend to get uptight or tense through the entrepreneurial journey, one of the best things that you can do is just notice when you're scared and use that as a cue to play offense instead of defense. This is a very powerful technique. It's just taking all the things that you're afraid will happen, and it's just about saying, what if I could build something beautiful, great, amazing, even better than what I have? And it's about focusing your attention there. You're going the same direction either way. You're going towards what you want. It's a matter of changing your orientation of your mind. Are you facing the stuff you're afraid of and focusing on and thinking about all day? Or are you turning around? You're still going this direction, but your attention is now on, what if I could find an even better way to accomplish this? Or in some cases where you're feeling like you're kind of stuck in some sort of trap, whether it's debt or a partnership that's not working out, and you just feel like, yeah, but how do I play offense when there is no offense? Sometimes it's about building something that's beautiful and good that's not necessarily directly related to that place where you feel trapped. It has the same psychological effect. It releases the tension that comes from focusing on the stuff you don't like, and it elevates your well-being and your happiness. Again, that's part of making that choice to give yourself permission to enjoy the journey. It doesn't mean that you first have to get all your goals right, and then that will allow you to achieve happiness. If I was going to consolidate this message down to one sentence, it would be this: instead of waiting for your goals to be achieved so that you can then give yourself permission to be happy, give yourself permission to be happy now, even before your goals have been achieved. That's what it means to give yourself permission, and that's what it means to elevate your well-being, to make your well-being your first goal. But coming back for just a minute to discussing those of you who tend to be a little bit more on the negative emotion side in terms of how you naturally react to adversity in your business goals or your personal life, it's really helpful if you treat any negative emotion that you experience that wells up inside of you, where you've experienced that little spike of anxiety or spike of frustration, treat that as a reminder, treat it as a cue that reminds you to give yourself permission to be happy despite the fact that stuff's not going well. Give yourself permission to release control over the day-to-day, whether this particular battle went in your favor. And so by creating that little feedback loop where every time negative stuff comes up, it pushes you back toward the adaptive coping response, then it's almost like you've engineered your environment to push you in the right direction towards psychologically building the habit of being a person who a greater percentage of the time just is enjoying the journey, which leads you to being in the journey for longer, having success in the sense that you've enjoyed that journey, regardless of what future outcomes evolve. And so there's your challenge for this week, is just to elevate well-being. Ask yourself, how could I elevate my well-being? How could I practice just enjoying the journey of work itself, not making my happiness contingent upon first reaching certain goals? Talk to you again soon.